I'm Jason number 5 of 7 here, which I think is cool. So, time travel debugging. Time travel debugging is a really old concept, but it's also been a multi-year project in Mozilla, and most recently, a 6-month sprint to this stage. So if you see something you like, please clap. Let me know, I want to hear it. If you really like it, shout. If you're moved by it, just come up and clap. I do real-time claps. I can keep going. So, here's the debugger. My name is Jason Laster, and I have the privilege to work full-time on this guy. It's great. Most recently, we made this decision to rewrite it in actually React and Redux, which has been a really amazing opportunity to rethink a lot of the things we're doing and do some really new things that are great too. Is there an echo? Or is it just me? Cool. Okay. One thing we did was we moved to GitHub and started doing local development as a website. So we can start it up with Webpack and Yarn, and then click that button, or other buttons for Chrome and Node, find a Firefox, and debug it as a website, not as a browser. And that's been amazing for working on it. You just refresh, and you've got everything new, and you're debugging it. And if you want to debug that, you've got a browser debugger. No problem. And while we're working on it, maybe we used Chrome, but just on the side. It's a website, you can do whatever you want to do. We focused on 2 things recently, and we're going to carry this out for the next year or 2. One of them is frameworks, because we realize that so many people are building modern apps with frameworks, and there's so much we can do to make debugging better if we use them. And Babel. So I've got stickers with me for the TC39, because we work closely with the JavaScript team, and stickers for Babel, because we work just as closely with them. Because we know that people who are writing apps today are often using things like JSX and Flow and TypeScript and new language features that can't be parsed by the Firefox parser. You won't even want to. Those are different things, and Babel has been amazing. We've worked closely with that team, and we've added features that would not have been possible otherwise, like breakpoints that stay in your function when you change your code, so you don't have to move them. Or when you step in the code you wrote, the original code, it just works, even though you're stepping over 10 lines of generated code. It's really, really amazing. And I think in part because we are in React and web developers can work on it, and we're in GitHub, and we are on Twitter, we found this amazing community of people who want to work on their tools that they use every day. And if you are interested in hacking on developer tools, I want to say that I've never found a team more open to open source than the Firefox DevTools team. So come join us and work on the debugger, or work on the inspector or the console. We really want that. In fact, we kind of need it. We're 10, 12 people. It's really, really small. And almost everything you see is a product of the great work from the community. And they've done WASM and search, amazing tests and flow types, because those things help the community. Our tooling comes from the community. We wouldn't have it otherwise. And I am so grateful for the team that has come and joined us and helped mentor. Their charter is to help newcomers get started. Answer the questions like, why does that work that way? How do I get Yarn working, or Node? They're here to help people come in, and they love it as much as we do. So huge thanks to them. Many of them are here now, and you guys rock. Y'all rock. Yes. So, debugging. We're done, right? We've done it. It's a solved problem, sure. I kind of have this belief that in some ways it's gotten worse because our apps have gotten so much better, and maybe our tools haven't caught up, and we're still kind of playing computer, and at the end of the day, maybe a good night's sleep is all you need. So there's more to do. Even a simple feature like a heart. Let's say you want to click the heart and you want to see it hearted. Can we heart the heart? Even that can be difficult today. You click it and nothing happens. Why? Well, a lot of things have to happen for the heart to be hearted. Generally speaking, there's this whole path for updating the data. You got to get the UI data, you got to talk to the API, you got to get that data from the API, update the store. And once the store is up to date, we can update the UI, but it can break at any point along the way, and you can add all the logs you want or pause at any step. You're going to have to understand the system, and maybe it's going to take a while. The thing I'm most excited, the one takeaway for this whole talk, is with time travel, we have a full recording of time, which means we can show you this thing right here. And if you want to, you can step to any point. You can jump to any point in the path and see it immediately. You don't have to refresh or click or pause or look at the logs. We can just give it to you. So it opens up all these opportunities that are now possible. But time travel is not a new thing. Others have done it. I remember when Dan Abramov showcased Redux not so long ago, and I think at JSConf EU. And he said something that really stuck with me. He wanted time travel, and so he wanted to reduce his actions over time, but he wanted time travel. And the demo is just crazy. You can get this slider that shows you all the actions over time, and then as you're moving, you can see the UI update. It's just perfect. It's magical. It's exactly how you want to develop. But it only works if you're using Redux, and it only shows you the Redux actions. It's not full time travel. There's other tools, Cypress, which is an amazing integration test tool, which makes it easy and, in fact, fun to write integration tests. And they have this reporter on the left that shows you things that change over time. So you can mouse over the reporter and for each action see the UI update, which is brilliant. You get it before and after. But again, it's only the UI. And yes, it's amazing. They do amazing work. You should try it. So how do we do a general purpose thing? The good thing is that we already have. About 10 years ago, Mozilla invested in something called RR, which is full recording and fast replay for C and C++. And this thing, which is now used quite a lot, gives you that ability to script through time. It's fast because if making the recording is slow, you're not going to use it. If rewinding is slow, you may reach for it if you need to, but you might not. And it goes down to the kernel. It knows about the OS, it's doing ptrace and strace, so it has everything. We're talking about like the heap. So that makes it universal as well. Once you have all that data, it can run for Firefox, it can run for Chrome, it can even run for arbitrary C or C++ programs. It just works. And you can use it to reproduce things. It's really, really cool. The problem is, what if your application has non-determinism? What if it's something like the browser that every time you use it could be different? Well, about 5 years ago, this project for web replay came out, which said, this RR thing is great for the platform, but can we give it to web developers? Yeah, I just love that animation. It serves no purpose, but it's fun. And amazingly, I've been using web replay, and it's fast. The recordings do not slow down the browser that much. And we're still using the system recording to get all the data, so it's as deep as you want to go. But because Firefox is complicated, the GC is complicated, the JIT is complicated, networking is complicated with APIs, layout is madness, it's tied to Firefox. It's not going to easily be portable to Chrome, even though we would like to work with them. So with that comes the risky part. Let me show you what we've got. So at the moment, I've got a custom builder Firefox over here. And I'm not going to update it quite yet. So that's my tab. I think that's going to work. That's a color picker. Cool. Go over here. And web developer, I'm going to record execution. I don't think it has to stay in a context menu, but for now it is. And once I do that, I've started a record process. So everything that happens here, every click, by the way, this is like a fun little color picker I made. You can select colors and keep them. Everything's now recorded. What does that mean? Well, let's see here. I've got some code for some demos. I'm going to set a directory root so we can focus in on the code we're working on, find the index. And now I've got some code. We've got an outline view. Remember I told you Babel's amazing? These things just start happening once you introduce Babel, really cool features. Find the circle component, set a breakpoint and some JSX, and we paused. That's great. So in some ways, time travel, web replay, is the most simple feature that's going to be shown because we've just added some buttons. It's the same debugger that you know, but now we can step back, just like we stepped forward. And yeah, we can rewind. So let's say there's some bug with the way the wheel was working, or we just don't like blue. We can just hit that rewind button, and now we're going to get a new color. And for fun, we're going to do. No, I don't like that one. I want this one. Yeah, no, this one. Yeah, that's good. I hope the color contrast is enough for you to see, that's green, that's changing. And I'm going to set a conditional breakpoint here to get the name of the color, and I type this right. I want to pause at the last time we were blue. And I'll rewind and boom, 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 boom. Yes, there we are. That is now possible. What about the first time we went blue? Let's go the other way too. I like that just as much. Sweet. Small sidetrack, just for a minute, I promise. We've been working on this other thing for the past 3 months that I'm really excited about, and I'm just going to show that to you quickly too. So this code has this function, getHSL. Yeah, it takes a color, shows the HSL value. I wrote this function in a utils file over here. Let's find that, utils, yes, get HSL. And I can go to the console, I can type it, and over here in the module, I can see it. Everything just works. But that's not the native behavior. It would be if we were using ES modules. ES modules are amazing, it just works. But this was a React app built with Webpack, and the default behavior for Webpack, and frankly with a lot of Babel plugins, is you get this. Different blocks for different scopes, like what's that, what's this JS thing? Oh boy. Where did that function go? I don't know. Yeah, right here, okay, cool. So we don't want that, we want this. This is what you want. Anyways, I just want to give a shout out because we've worked with Logan Smith on the Babel team for the past 5 months, and he's done amazing work. We're actually reparsing the files using source maps to map it up, and magic. That probably should never have worked. But Logan is a genius, and he knows the internals of the transforms and source maps, so kudos to him. Demo number 2. Oops. No good talk can avoid to-do MVC. It's so good. And frankly, I have to-do MVC open almost every single day because that's what I debug. It's great. It works. So clear that root. We'll go in here, find some JavaScript, set a new root. Voila, some JS, and it's Backbone, and I love it. So we set a breakpoint over here. Boom. How many people did Backbone development back in the day? Yeah, that was great. That was the shit. I loved it. That's where I got started. Backbone was like a bring your own render function library. Don't worry about it. And I just took it for granted, and it was great. But thinking about this demo, I saw this render function. I was like, really? What is it even doing? I mean, really, come on. And I started looking at it, and I was like, I'm going to look at it a little bit more closely. Maybe I'm going to go back here and check that out. Or what is this like, why are we toggle visible? That's like custom code. Maybe I want to look at that and step in. Is hidden, okay. We're going to like actually manipulate the checkbox right now? Fine. In render, I don't even care. What's this doing? What's this to.json? Okay, we're going to serialize some data, and then maybe we'll go to the template. The thing I love about this, oops, did I get that? Are we going to go back? Oh, because it's on the same line. Nice. Maybe this? No going, well, I can always like step back and then jump in, right? Yes, templates with data. Amazing. Debugging with time travel is about exploring the entire space, but it's also about looking at one complicated function and not being afraid to step forward, because you can always go back. So I wanted to show that. And, oops, maybe I'll just close this recording and start a new one. Yeah. No, that's lame. I'm sorry. Oh, hey. Yeah. No. I mean, yeah, but all right, fine, whatever. Focus. I'm going to save this. Berlin. Close it. Yeah, you see what's coming, right? Don't you want to check out these to-dos we created, right? Yeah. We don't have the ability to set a breakpoint yet in Open DevTools, but that's coming. And yes, that's exciting. That's my favorite demo here. All right, so there are 4 things I want to show you that are not really live demoable, and we got to move. So, exceptions. By the way, was it Sandra's talk this morning on exceptions? Amazing. God, that was so cool. Yes. We all know them. We all love them. We all hate when we get them and we don't know why, and we're not really sure what to do. Well, time travel, right? That thing, yeah, oh, shoot. That thing is interesting. Maybe I'll look at the call stack. No, that doesn't really help me. I'm going to click that link at index and rewind to that spot where it happened. Ready? Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. That's what you want. You want to figure out why it was called that, or if it was called with the wrong names. And now you can. What about production? Right? Like this is the money. If we can help you debug your production app that's getting hundreds of exceptions, oh, that would be good. And if you forget about the privacy thing, like if you're not working at Bank of America, we might just be able to turn this on by default. At which point, that error now comes with a recording. You can download that recording, and there you are. What about failing tests? Who has intermittence? I want to empathize. Raise your hand if you've got intermittent. Really? Intermittents are like tests that fail like 1% of the time, and you're like haunted by them, and you don't know why they happened. And you're like, that could never happen. I wrote this perfectly. No, there are race conditions. The killer feature in the short term is to be able to debug intermittence. So whenever there's something that happens that surprises you, you've got that same recording, you can pull it down, and maybe you've got a happy case and a sad case, and you can just compare them. Maybe you ask the computer to do it. All right. Logs. The thing I hear having worked on a debugger for 2 years, more than anything, and it drives me nuts, is an apology. Everyone comes up to me and is like, oh, yeah, your debugger is cool, debuggers are cool, but I don't use it. I should, because like the good developers use it. And I wish I were one, but I use print statements. In fact, I talked to a lot of really senior engineers, and they're like, I just use a console. They're not even apologizing. They're like, that's what I do. And there's some truth to the fact that when you pause and when you're stepping, it can be a little slower, and sometimes you just want that full history, so there should be a way to kind of marry them. And with time travel, by the way, this is a real bug that I had for 3 months. When you hover on a variable, you want to show the preview, but it's really hard to know if you're hovering on the variable and then the pop-up, or off. So you add tons of logs, added tons of logs, 3-month bug. Finally, I found it, and I was able to click on the console log message, go into the debugger, and see what the fuck was going on. And that's time travel. It's like Alexa at some point. You're like, Alexa, I want to go back in time. And then you're like, oh, that browser doesn't have it. I'm using Dev Edition. I'm using Nightly. Oh, I got to go there, whatever. It just begin to reach for it. And it makes it easier just to do what you want to do. So that's number 1. Redux. We rebuilt the debugger to use React and Redux because I wanted time travel. You can kind of see that that's something that I'm into. And on the right, you see that we're using the Redux dev tools, and it's awesome. It shows a full list of all the actions for the debugger. At init, we get sources, we get a pause action, we show the pause data, all that stuff. Here's Redux DevTools hooked up with time travel. So DevTools shows us the state of the app, the UI, at a certain point in time, and when I finally want to jump into the debugger, I just command-click and wait for it. Maybe I'm going to find the pause thing. Yeah, right there. Boom. Now we have the two, one on top of the other, and you can get the best out of both. You don't just have to see the Redux state, you can actually see the code behind it that fired it. And you can just jump wherever. Nice. This demo was kind of fabricated because I didn't want to get the Redux DevTools thing in, but you get the point. UI. So you don't just have to debug your JavaScript to use the recording. You're recording everything at this point. So why not look at the DOM? And how often have you run into this case where a website you're working on has some loading interaction and maybe CNN drives you nuts because it flashes and you're not sure why? It's probably images coming down, videos loading, CSS, you name it. So we've got the net monitor, we have the inspector. And now, with time travel, we have 2 ways to pause. You can say pause at the time when this style sheet loaded, or pause at the time that the layout changed. And that's amazing, right? Because you can see the before and after, and you can just see the comparison. All this stuff. Frameworks. Yeah. All right, 2 things here. 1, with React, when you pause in a render with React 16, you don't know why you paused. In fact, you don't know where you're paused. You know you're in a component, but why? What's the parent? What's the whole component tree? Well, we've been working on this framework feature so we can show you the tree in your call stack, which is useful. But unfortunately, because it's async, we can't actually let you go back to that render and see it because it's already happened, it's done. And so, yeah, time travel, boom, boom. It's now possible again. It just works as you'd want to. So anything that's async, and frameworks are going async and scheduling, is now recoverable. You have a set timeout, you got some async frames below it, can't see them, now you can. Your pause in a render, because of a Redux action that fired, we can figure out that the reason we're paused is Redux, and we can put that in the call stack. And again, boom, you're in the action, or sorry, you're in the reducer, and if you want to, you can rewind to the action. Voila. All right, I don't have much time. But I feel like that's just the beginning. There's so much we can do at this point, and we haven't even scratched the surface. It's almost like we're used to debugging paper maps, and we want Google Maps. We can build in the whole path and visualize so you can jump around. In fact, we can build a video player and you can scrub. Yeah, I love that animation. And before I finish, I just want to say that having joined Mozilla 2 years ago, I've realized how special a place it is. Netscape, open sourcing Netscape in the browser, in many ways created the world we live in now with open source at scale. Investing in the web, investing in Rust, because if you're going to build a fast browser, you need parallelization. Investing in R 10 years ago, because if you have parallelization, you're going to need to be able to debug it, has helped create the world that we live in now. And I see us potentially pulling this off. It's an experiment. We don't know if it's going to happen, but it could. So thank you.